Yo, how's it going, Joni? Rag vendor. What's happening, people? Let me know if the audio and the video is okay. I'll put it on the chart for a minute. You guys can let me know. All right, cool. Yes, Jaden. So if you're trying to use MT4, so yeah, if you're trying to use MT4 on Mac, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can use MT4. Maybe not on Catalina. I don't have Catalina, but there's a kind of a port called XM that is an MT4 port for Mac. So that's an option. You can also run, kind of your Windows boot. You can boot a Windows onto a Mac and kind of partition your hard drive and do it that way. But for FX, yeah, I actually will. The way I get around it for Forex is I will either execute directly on TradingView, or I'll use TradingView to look at the charts, and then I will actually execute from my cell phone. I know it sounds crazy, but just for entering orders, it's not that bad. No problem. My pleasure, Paul. I'm excited to chat with y'all. So let's get this going. We got a decent turnout. So it is Saturday night where I am on the West Coast. So about 10:20 Saturday night. Going to look at Bitcoin here specifically. Bitcoin's going to be the main thing that I'm covering tonight. But I did make a post on Twitter today. So those of you that are, I mean, I imagine most of you follow me on Twitter, or how else would you know about this? But if you don't, follow me on Twitter. I made a post here, and some people asked for some charts, so I'm going to do some charts as well. So if you have any questions, anything like that, leave it in the chat. I'm going to do my best to make this video an hour at the most. Those of you that know me and have been watching my videos for a while know that I have a tendency to ramble, and that it is sometimes difficult for me to be succinct and short. So I'm going to do my best here and have this be kind of valuable information. It is a Saturday night. You guys should all be out drinking. I don't know why any of you would be in here watching me stream, but I'm doing a sober January, so I'm not drinking or smoking pot for the entire month. So what better way to spend my Saturday night than with the internet homies? So I'm just going to start talking here. And then I will go through questions. So please feel free to leave questions, things you want to see in the chat, and I'll do my best to go through the chat at various points in the video and answer along the way. What is your main platform to trade from? For crypto, mainly BitMEX and Binance. For Forex, I use a website called Oanda, Oanda. Thanks, Jaden. I appreciate that. LeBron James is actually the GOAT, but I appreciate that. That's high praise. So let's talk about where we were in my last video. So I know I talked about wanting to do more shit for you guys here on YouTube and just for the public, because I used to, back in the day, back in 2018, when I didn't have any followers, I used to do a bunch of live streams. So I want to get back to doing at least one video a week. So I did a video on January 21st, so about 4 days ago. So this is video number 2 this week. Let's kind of talk about, kind of my thoughts. And in this video, I talked about a long on Bitcoin right around here for a bounce. And then I posted that on Twitter as well, right here. And I ended up, this ended up working out quite nicely. But I'm going to talk about it in this video, about this range that I'm looking at here on Bitcoin, potential range, because it's obviously not confirmed yet. But I discussed this trade in Twitter and in the last video, and I also discussed actually a short that played out quite nicely. So if you look here, right, I talked about, if we break down here, right, I talked about either shorting right up here, right, on this failure. So I said this would be the aggressive short, and I said the more conservative short, right, would be the underside of this level. So once we had this SFP, that was your sign that, this is probably going to go down. So I mean, if you're not shorting, I'm trying to not take any trades sub the H4. The best thing that's happened in my trading in the last couple of months is I've been focusing on the H4 and above, not fucking around with the low time frames, and my hit rate has been really high because of that. That's where I'm most comfortable, which would, kind of put me in a swing trade kind of category. Occasionally there's day trades in there because, you can take an H4 trade and be out of there in the same day. Like this one was, 1 day this long I took. But H4, it's usually kind of more swing trade category. I'm in a long from ETH on 123. That's definitely a swing trade. I've been in it for over a month. So that's kind of my forte. But once we had this SFP, okay, you could short the SFP, right? When this candle closes, the immediate trade, right, is entering, stop above the SFP, right? Target the lows that then generated that SFP high, right? That's an option. Alternatively, right, you have this pullback here if you were to go down to the hourly. Once we had that SFP, right, you're looking for any sort of pullback to sell into. I mean, if you follow me, this is kind of a breaker, kind of. But more the next short I talked about in my last video was a break below this low, and if you go to the hourly, you actually see it play out quite nicely, because what do you have there? There's your bearish order block for those ICT fanboys like myself, or just your 1 hour supply. There's your relevant SR level, right? Previous floor 8,500, round number, right? Big figures. 8500s, 8600s, 8550s, right? Just like in Forex, these numbers work. So, there's your floor. So you need, if you watch my older videos, I talk about the same thing for order blocks always, because people are always like, oh, is this an order block? Order blocks only matter if they're near significant SR levels. So here's your key SR level. There's your order block, right? Break in market structure to the downside. So there's your low. Once this low breaks here, you're now looking to sell pullbacks to be a lower high, right? And that's what you got, a pullback right into the bearish order block and that previous floor. Then it sold off. So I talked about that here. I didn't end up taking that trade, but I did take a long. On this bounce here. But basically, this was a counter trend long, not a super high probability move. I'm still waiting to get into a swing long, and I think it's coming soon. But right now, price is just kind of drifting downwards, and we're forming kind of a falling wedge, right? In my opinion, on the H4 here. So if you were to kind of draw it out. This has kind of got falling wedge vibes, right? And to me, what do you want to see? You want to see a falling wedge go into support, right? And then you want to long it for a breakout. So, that's kind of what I'm looking for here now on Bitcoin, is for a falling wedge kind of trade to be the bottom and potentially continuation here, right? So if you're looking, we're here, we're in the wedge, we're coming to the apex. could we see one more run below these lows into here, okay? And then a move out, right? So the falling wedge, couple ways you can trade this thing, right? So you can trade the anticipatory move. So the anticipatory move is a move to the bottom of the wedge, and then you're longing the bottom of the wedge, basically, hoping, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, a run of like a wick down here, right? And then a move up. So if we see a wick below these lows, and then a potential reversal, so a move down, a high, and then a higher low form, that's your long trigger right at the bottom of the falling wedge. This would be like an anticipatory move, expecting that the next upswing takes us out of the wedge. That would be option number one. Option number two is, let's assume we come up, you wait for a flip of a key level. And so for me here, that key level I think would be this floor here. What's going on? Oops. Here we go. Right? To me, this is your breakout on the falling wedge, because you could have a move, that comes up here and then just fails again. But if we can break out of this wedge and then regain 85, right? To me, that's a no-brainer long. You get bullish above this level. And why I also like this level, 85, 86, 86, 85, 86. The reason I like that level is if you go here, what do we have for the mid-range of this entire move, right? It's right at 85.20. So 85.20 there, go back to the H4, right? That's that exact level that I was showing you. And that, look at how it just formed that high there. So right now, if you're short, your invalidation is right here. So if you hedged up here or you shorted anywhere up here, you're trailing your stop down, this is where you're wrong. And if you're looking to enter a short right now, there's nothing here on the H4 for me, but if we were to kind of come above these highs here, and then come into here, let's say, and then break down, you're short, your risk is here, your risk is this high. And so to me, right, super key level there, that 8,500, oops, I didn't mean to delete that. The 8,500 there, it's basically that floor that I just marked. There's your invalidation, right? Because if we get above here, right, any sort of move, that's now a break in market structure, and now this is a low, and now we're looking for a higher low, right? So that's your key level of interest here, basically, to me, 8,500, and I think that lines up well with my falling wedge idea. So whether or not you want to get long, early in anticipation of a run below these lows here, right, into this area here, into this demand, and then a breakout, or if you want to wait for confirmation, right, and get above here, I think you look for a long. So that's my plan right now, is to look for a long in here, and then if we can come through here, I will compound. I'm not in a hedge or anything like that. If I was in a hedge, I would stay in your hedge until this high gets taken out. If you're looking for a short, you're in a short, this is your invalidation in my opinion, because through here, right, we're regaining this key price level, and that's also the 50% of that entire range from 3K to 14K. So super key level, I'm bullish above there, and as you can see, I just took that range from 3 to 14K, right? Look at the respect of the level here, right? So support, 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 and then resistance, right? So has to get above there to be bullish. Getting in long here is going to be really good risk reward, right? But it also, because your stop is going to be close, right? Your stop is either going to go here or even tighter here. Good risk reward, but if you're wrong, right, we're gonna the magnet of price is going to be where your stop is. So if this high is locked in here, this is where we're going next. In my opinion, 7,700. Why do I think 7,700? Well, these lows here, and it's also this previous range. You remember this range that we were in for what seemed like forever. This range here was previous range high, 7,700. So this could be an entire deviation outside of this range, and then we could trade right back into this range. So going to be interesting. I'm not probably going to take a trade until the new weekly candle forms. But this is kind of what I'm watching on Bitcoin. These are my key levels, right? This previous price floor here, right? So the previous price floor tied in with this falling wedge kind of idea. So that's what I'm watching for. A regain of this level is going to be what flips me, bull for, a next potential swing. And if you also want to, do your ICT fib, everyone loves to talk about the OTE, all that BS, which is funny because I was one of the first people to be posting that, so I'm calling it BS. I mean, there's your OTE right in the middle there. So, I think if you were to long here, first of all, you target here. Where's that CME gap? What is the tag for Bitcoin? Is this it? No, obviously not. What is the fucking CME? What is the CME? The CME Bitcoin tag. Someone tell me. Is Oanda good for trading stocks? No. So Oanda is for Forex, and I can also trade gold on it, but you cannot trade stocks. Exclamation point CME 1. Is that what you said, bruh? BTC 1. Yeah, there you go. There we go. Okay, so where's that gap, right? Well, we filled the gap, I guess, here. I should have this on my cheat sheet, bruh. But to me, so there's your OTE pullback, right? So loose stop. I mean, I'm targeting in here. This is where I'm targeting on a long. Okay. So I'm just gonna delete this so it's a little cleaner. So let's say you put your orders right around the middle. Right. So way loose stop. This is a loose ass stop down here, right at 7.8 basically. You get 1.5 R. But I think this is your first target, right? These levels are getting wiped if we go up. I think we go higher, but loose stop, decent risk reward. Tighter stop is going to be here, right? So that's almost a 4R. The even tighter stop, right, is going to be if we see a move down here. Let's say we take out this low, right? So let's say we take out this low, but then we form a high and a higher low, right? So this would be, if you just want to stink bids, you put stink bids, your stop goes here or here. But if you're watching live, your trigger is going to be a move below one of these lows, right? And then a pullback forming a higher low. Then your stop is now here, right? Wherever that low forms. So to give you an idea of how that looks, this is the inverse, right? But instead of just shorting, right, blindly here, shorting blindly here, right, what you wait is here. Now that we've dumped, what have we done, right? We've shifted market structure. Now your risk is defined, right? Now your risk is here, and then your entry is here, right? And then you're shorting there. So that you've allowed market structure to show you where your risk is. And so the same thing could be said here, right? You can wait for the low to get run instead of just entering right away. You can wait, and if a low forms, a high forms, and then it starts forming a higher low, then you enter, and your risk is defined. So I'm just doing this top, but the inverse, right? Because a lot of people would have just shorted this level, blind, and then they're putting their stop relative to price action over here, when if you wait for this top to form, once it breaks below these lows, right, now you have confirmation of a top, you're selling the first pullback, and your risk is defined there. Just like your risk right now on shorts is defined right here, right? We broke the level, right? So any sort of move up here, there's your risk. Whereas previously, right, your risk was here. And so if you sold this top, your stop goes there, right? Because this is the high that then generated the new lower low. So that's where your risk goes. So that's my plan on Bitcoin. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. I do really like this 8,500 number. I think if we can break out of this falling wedge and get above here, I really like the looks of it. And to me, what we're kind of seeing here, this is almost like a microcosm of, this. Right? This is more flaggy or channely, but eventually, right, and I talked about this in my last video, eventually this shit bottoms. Eventually, this is a micro downtrend, right? We've been in a downtrend for the last, 10 days. But eventually, if this is going to continue up, this trend will change, and it will change upon a shift in market structure, right? Because right now we have lower high, lower high, lower high. We get above that 8,500 level, there's your trend change. So that's what I'm looking for on Bitcoin right now. So not in a trade currently, sitting flat, waiting for a move lower into this area to potentially get long for a move up into the 8,000s, taking out all of these people here. That's what I'm looking for on Bitcoin. And I talked about this on Twitter a little bit here. Personally, I don't think it's so. To me, it's very clear that we had this huge. I'm not going to go over my whole high time frame shit. If you want to know my high time frame reasoning for where I think the bottom might be in, go watch my last video that I posted on YouTube. I went over the high time frame charts from the quarterly all the way fucking down. But we broke this range here, right? So we broke out of this range, retested it, moved away. Now, to me, we could potentially be forming a new range. So one thing that drives me nuts on Twitter, right, is everyone, I'll post some shit, right? And I'll be like, okay, I think, this is now potentially support, right? Or I want to see if this becomes support. Someone will go, well, this actually is, we actually rejected here. So this is bearish, and we're now below another level here, and blah, blah, blah. You can draw a level anywhere on your chart to make price seem bullish or bearish, right? So it's up to you, right? If you're going to draw a level here, and this is your SR level, right? If your SR level is 8,600, let's say, just to make it a round number, this is a failure above your SR level, right? Resistance came up, failed. Now you're bearish. You're like, we're below the level, we're bearish. Sure, right? But you can find a line. I could be like, well, my level is this. And now we're actually sitting on it as support. That looks like it's a little fat. Hey. My level is here, and we're actually forming support. And this is a nice SR flip. You can draw so many fucking lines on the chart that fit your bias, right? It's very easy to do that. And what you'll see on Twitter is constantly people are moving their SR lines, right? And if you look at my charts, usually I have the same lines for a while. Every once in a while, what I'll do is I'll clear my chart and I start fresh. But some things to focus on, first of all, is recency. My interest are levels in this area here, okay? Recency. I don't really care as much about, I'll see people be like, oh, well, here, this level is super key right here, right? Because it was this top. It's like, yes, it was super key, but obviously this top created here. There's a more recent area of price action. Notice how this level I marked over here is just the same as that level I had marked initially, right? So recency is what's important. Not levels here are gonna be relevant again here, absolutely, but you don't need to go back here to draw them. Focus on recency in terms of your trading and in terms of your level drawing, excuse me. And then what you want to do is you want to be consistent, right? Because what I saw a lot of people do when we were in this range, right, is everyone had this same range high. Okay, and then when we broke out of the range and we retested this, I posted this on Twitter. I said, I think this is a long. I think we broke out of a 45-day range. You don't want to fade this move. We retested it here. Everyone was like, oh, I'm shorting it. This is just a deviation. Then they got smacked. And we went another, $1,500 to the upside. But then everyone says, oh, okay, well, now my range is, now my level is here. Now it's here. Now it's here. It's like eventually you're going to get caught fighting the trend the entire way. And you can trust me on that because I've done it lots of times in the past. So it happens, but the key is consistency, right? So if your levels are picked a certain way, do it that way every time, right? Because if you want to have a system, if you want to have an edge in trading, your system has to be repeatable. Because if it's not repeatable, if you're not doing it the same way every time, you can't collect any data that's actionable in terms of whether or not what you're doing is working, and your results are kind of meaningless because it becomes random because you're changing how you do it every time. And that's one of the biggest problems with CT is there's always like a new flavor of the month of TA, right? So there was the ICT period, then there's the ranges period, the price action period, the guppy, the RSI, the fucking Bollinger Band. Everyone's changing their shit, right? But if you look at the good traders, they're doing the same shit constantly. I'm not saying you can't rework how you trade and add pieces from other people that you like. Absolutely you can. But if you want to, once you are forming your system, it has to be repeatable. And the way that you do your TA should not be variable, right? You need your data to be repeatable. So absolutely, I could have a support level where you think I think we're retesting support and you think we've already failed. As long as this is how you're drawing your levels every time, that's fine, right? So when I was getting shit on these last couple months of the year, trying to long this, I know that what I do works. So eventually, right, my system works. I know that I get it right more often than I get it wrong. And even if there's a losing streak, I know that I will be able, as long as I keep doing the same thing and don't try and overcompensate one way or revenge trade or change what I'm doing, I know that it's going to correct itself. And it's funny. I mean, I've been on crypto Twitter since like 2014, but I wasn't active for a while, and I got active again. I had someone like message me being like, well, are you ever bearish on Bitcoin? It's like, well, I shorted the fuck out of like all of 2018, right? And I happen to be bullish now. So I'm interested in looking for continuation of what I think is this macro trend. So all that being said, the way you mark your levels is going to be different than other people. Just make sure you're doing it the same every time. As long as you're consistent, do whatever the fuck you got to do. But just do it consistently. Do it the same way every time. Otherwise, it's pointless. And you're absolutely, anytime someone shows me a level, I can find a level that supports my bias. You're going to be able to find a level that supports your bias. And at the end of the way, shut the fuck up and let the market decide who's right. So personally, I think we might be forming a range here. Okay, what I would like to see happen, because this is what I'm watching really. I think that this is going to be, so this was accumulation, hopefully, right? Breakout, and now reaccumulation, and then hopefully continuation. And then we break out of this large trend. That's what I'm hoping for. How did I lose that fucking other level there? Fuck it. So that's what I'm hoping for, because if we lose this level here, 8,200 basically, I think we're going to go back to retest this old range high in the 7,700 area. But I like to think that this is, potentially a solid area for us to be seeing a breakout, right? So we have this order block here. We're coming back above it here. We're now holding the top. If we lose this level, and I know my long I just talked about goes below 8,200, but I mean, ideally, right? I was just showing you the 3-day chart, right? Hopefully we're not getting a close below there. Any sort of move into this area, I want to see be quick and then out. And then that next level of interest is that 8,500 level, which is then your shift in market structure on the low time frame. Because before we can have a shift in market structure on the 3-day chart, right? So the market structure on the 3-day shifts here at 9,000, but the market structure gets bullish on the H4 before then at 8,500. All right, so the trend changes on the low time frame first. So the other reason why I like this potential range here, okay, is if you look at the monthly, right, look where we're coming into right here. We're trading right into this candle here. This is our FTA. This is a bearish order block. This is our first trouble area. This is supply, whatever the fuck you want to call it, on the monthly. And to me, this is a huge decision point, because below here, if we this looks like it could be rejecting. The month isn't over yet, but if this is rejecting from here, just looking at the monthly, right, this is just the monthly, right, we've taken out this month's high, right? So the next target on the monthly is either the November high or the December low, right? So if we're rejecting here and we're going to continue down, the next target is the December low on the monthly, okay? But if we're going to be bullish and we're going to continue going up, the next target on the monthly would be the November high, which is like 9,600. So that range that I just showed you on the 3-day, right, I'm going to mark those levels here, happen to be very close to the range of that monthly candle. And if you look at that monthly candle there, the open on this candle is 8,300. My level is 82, right? We're talking about the monthly. So $100 on the monthly is not that big of a deal. I mean, it's a big deal. If you're a scalper, $100 move's huge. On the monthly chart, $100 is not a big deal. And then the close is 91.53. We're in at 91.65. So if you want to forget my levels and use this monthly range, right? Because a monthly candle, you could pull a fib on this, and this can be a range. And people will be like, oh, well, how's that a range? It's a candle. It's like, well, it's a monthly candle, but it's a range on the daily, right? Look at how price just comes into the top there. Boom. There's breaks into the range top, flips. Now we're at the range low. So what I want to see on the monthly, which is closing in 6 days, 31 days in January, if I'm not mistaken, is I would like to see us close within the range of this monthly candle. I would like to see the monthly close above 8,300. If we can see the monthly close above 8,300, I think that's a good look for Bitcoin. And I'm banking on, we might not come here. I hope we do, because then I'll get filled on a nice long. But I'm banking on us closing in here, and I'm banking on next week being green, and then ideally, compounding above 85. So that's my plan on Bitcoin. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Okay, so I want to see us close the monthly above 83. Ideally, I would love to get a long around 8,100. And I think, the top blows off at least up till 9K pretty much if we can regain 8,500. If you're short, if you're hedged, anything like that, I think this is your invalidation. You should be trailing your stop down. And this is where you want to see us dump. And this is where you don't want to see us get above, excuse me. If we stay below this high, I think you hold your hedge, because we could go another $5,000 to $1,000, below. Right, because that previous range high is at about 7,700, right? A little bit higher, it's like 7,750. Call it right there. So, this is still a sizable potential downswing here. If this high stays locked in, we're coming down here, another 6-7% down. So, hopefully that makes sense. I've covered both sides for you. I've given you my plan, and also just, I'm not really a fractal person, but this kind of. Right? Looks like this. It's not perfect, but gold, right? Kind of a falling wedge, right? Into support. If I put this here, God, that looks hideous. All right, and then this one. What the fuck is going on here, motherfucker? Why? Okay. All right. We are going to figure this out. I don't know why it's being such a fucking dickhead. So I'm not saying this is the exact same, right? But falling wedge right into this previous area, and then we broke out. So what's equivalent of 8,500 here, right? So 8,500 on this chart, right, which is the point of this floor giving out, to me is the same as basically this level here, right? 1484. And if you follow me on Twitter, I posted a gold long breakthrough of this level here, right? So similar idea here. We regain this level. There's your little bearish order block, but we regain this level. Need to regain this level, and then you can see a nice breakout. So I'm not saying they're the exact same, but kind of have some similarities. All right, so does that make sense for Bitcoin, everyone? Yeah, so Wanda is not good for stocks or indexes. It's for Forex. Thanks, Freddie. You've only ever watched me on 1.25x speed. Smart. Lazy Flounder. How often do you leave limit orders in your blocks compared to reacting when price gets there? H4D1. So I'll leave limit orders overnight if I think something's going to happen. I'll leave limit orders. I don't mind leaving limit orders on high time frame trades, but for the most part, when you're focusing on the nice thing about trading, and this is why I like it, the nice thing about trading the H4 in the daily is you're gonna have time, right? Like if you're entering on the 15-minute chart, it's sketchy leaving a limit order, because then if you go out and get food and then you come back, you know, a bunch of 15-minute candles have opened and closed, and you don't know where you're at. Whereas if you're working a day job, for example, a 4-hour chart, you only need to you check the chart at 8 a.m. when you get to the desk, check it again at noon when it closes, and then you check it at the end of the day. You know, you could check the chart 3 times in your entire workday. So that's why I like trading the higher time frame, because I can usually execute live because I don't have to be staring at the chart as much. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's a percentage of, you know, what I do it. If I think I'm going to be able to be at the chart, like if it's happening Monday to Friday during, you know, kind of 8 to 5 p.m., which is when I'm usually at my computer at my office, you know, and I'm looking at the charts and shit, I'll usually execute live. But when I get home, I don't love staring at the charts all fucking night. I like, you know, enjoying myself, going to the gym, hanging out with friends, hanging out with my girlfriend occasionally. So I don't want to be staring at the charts. So I'll set limit orders. But usually when I'm entering live, I'll trade a little bit more size than when I'm just doing blind limit orders. Since when is Mayne a TradingView wizard? I'm slowly learning, my guy. If this is the same Bonesaw from Twitter, I'll see you next weekend, homie, at the Waste Management Open. Anyone else here in Arizona? I'll be in Scottsdale next weekend for the Waste Management Open, so hit me up. We can get a beer. I'm sober this entire month, and I'm going to be absolutely sending it next weekend. So there's a good chance that I have like 2 Bud Lights and fucking am just going to be pissed, but it'll be a sight to see. I'm short from 8,500, would take profit below. I'm blindly longing 7Xs on the June contract. Yeah, I mean, I don't like to blindly do anything, but you know, if you're short from 8,500, you know, your risk is your entry at this point. Your stop could go to break even. You know, maybe give it a little wiggle room, maybe put your stop a little bit higher, you know, maybe do it at 86, but you're free rolling right now. I don't even know why you'd take profit at 8.2, because I think if we roll over here, right? Like if we roll over here, I think we're going into this level here. We'll definitely go into this level here, but I think we'll go lower. So I wouldn't take profit at 8.2. I'd take profit at 8 and then at 7.7 if I was you. And you know your risk is where you're in, so you're laughing. Hey, Mamet, how you doing, homie? Yeah, Mamet, the boy, he just posted a falling wedge on Bitcoin as well. So good to have the Mamet Mayne confluence. Very powerful. What else? So you see, I got my little hazmat suit on here, guys. Corona has entered Canada. I'm in Canada. For those of you that don't know, I'm on the West Coast, but it has hit Toronto. There's a confirmed case. So I don't know how shook I should be about this shit. Like, part of me is like super red pill, being like, this is a fucking disease that's been created by, you know, the powers that be, to fucking kill off some people and to, you know, make us buy, um, you know, medicine and vaccinations and whatever. And just, you know, part of me is like down that rabbit hole. You know, like, it's crazy to me that we don't have a cure. You know, I was talking to my buddy Tyler about this. Like, we don't have a cure for the common cold yet. You know, we've been to the moon. You know, and we can, if you have enough money, you can have AIDS and not die. Like, so it's just that kind of shit. It's just like, you know, but to me, and this goes to my tweet from last night, you know, the big opto and big moisturizer industry, I'm convinced it's a scam, dude. Like, I never use chapstick. I have unbelievably soft lips. Ask anyone, girl or guy. But I never have used chapstick. And then my girlfriend's like, you need to use chapstick. You need to use chapstick. It's cold outside. I've been using chapstick the last couple of months, and now my lips are always fucking dry. Even when I use it or I don't use it, my lips are always fucking dry now. So I'm gonna just stop using it and just hopefully. I feel like it's the same for facial shit. Like, I feel like I never put any lotion on ever. Like, I never used lotion, any of that shit. And then all of a sudden, now I'm dating this girl who's always like, you need to moisturize. But I'm like, I've always had super soft skin. And now I start moisturizing. Now my shit's dry all the time. My arms are dry. I got dead skin, flaking. I'm like, what the fuck? I think, like, naturally your body produces oils and shit. You don't need to add anything. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it's a scam by big moisturizer. Big opto, absolutely. I never thought I needed glasses. All of a sudden, I went to an opto. Here's the thing. I think I need a glass. Part of it's probably from staring at a computer screen all the fucking time. But I bought those blue light glasses. But then I read somewhere that those are a scam. But what I was doing is I always couldn't see shit from far away. And then I put glasses on, and now it is way better. Like, if I'm driving, if there's, like, I'm at a hockey game, if there's something far away and I have glasses on, I can see it. If I don't have my glasses on, it's blurry. So they help, but my eyes, I feel like, have gotten way worse ever since wearing my glasses. So I don't know. It's fucking BS. But yeah, good thread by Flood here. So yeah, let's go into these charts here. Saw crutches brought me to you. Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the 1 month chart, right, is not great. Like, if we can't close in here, that's not good. You know, if you look, last time we had a bearish order block on the monthly, right, that we retested was here. Right, we came into it and then we sold off. So, you know, but obviously here's another one. We just nuked right through. So I would like to see us close within the range of this candle. If we close below this candle here, I don't know. Look, it looks less enticing to me on the bullish side. So I'm hoping for a green week on Bitcoin next week, and I would love to see us start closing like back above 8,500. That would be a good look. Thanks, Saw Crutches, for sending Indigo Washington my way. I'm going to get a GF when Bitcoin is back above 10K. We're all going to get GFs, homie, man. I'm going to get a new GF. I'm going to upgrade. Hopefully my girlfriend doesn't watch this video. Usually she watches my videos, but only the first couple of minutes. So we're fucking 45 minutes in. There's no way she's watching this far, this deep. Do you trade Forex the same way you trade crypto? Also, what VPN do you use for BitMEX? Yes, the way that I trade is called price action. If you want to know how I trade, it's called price action. The place I learned, there's a couple different flavors of price action. I believe that they're all basically the same, just, different terms. A lot of people give ICT shit for calling shit order blocks. Supply and demand zones, basically the exact same thing. What a coincidence. That was sarcasm. But yeah, different flavors. ICT is the main guy I learned from. I learned a lot from Tom Dante. I've learned stuff from WMDX or WMD4X. I've learned shit from Chris Laurie. I've learned shit from Trader SZ. I've learned shit from Scarface, who's now Tyler on Twitter. I know a lot of people, hate on him, but motherfucking can trade. I've learned shit from him. So lots of different people who are doing great work. Other price action traders, Crypto Cred, Don Alt, Trader XO, obviously Trader SZ, Trader Matt, who used to be Technical Anal. These guys all trade price action. That's how I trade. So if you want to learn how I trade, it's called price action. Lots of different people teach it. I trade Forex the exact same way I trade crypto, but I like trading Forex, but when crypto is volatile, which it has been, it's the best market in the world because the markets are still inefficient. It's still like the Wild West out here, right? You're not seeing this kind of volatility in Forex. You're just not. I mean, Forex, right? People shit on Forex. They're like, oh, you've got your tiny fucking moves. Ooh, look at this little trade. Look at this little trade that worked out. I don't even remember drawing this. So, let's see if I can reverse engineer this goat maneuver. There you go. So there's your monthly level. And there's a monthly floor, right? And then I executed this on the daily, I guess. And I said, if we hold this low, I don't remember when I did this. This could be ancient. Obviously, it's from months ago, right? Back in October, at least, right? So if we get above here, I say you enter here, right? There's your entry. You target up there. Look at that. Fucking pinpoint precision, motherfucker. So this stuff obviously works on all markets, right? But you're talking 2% here where Bitcoin can have 30% in a day, but you get serious leverage, right? You can trade 500 to 1, 1,000 to 1 leverage in Forex. But to me, when Bitcoin is trending, Forex is a lot more consistent, right? Like, I mean, look, this is a fucking downtrend if you've ever seen a downtrend. So does it take a rocket scientist to know that from the start of 2018 till, here, this pair was in a downtrend, partly because the US dollar was in an uptrend, right? So Forex, just like Bitcoin, when you're trading an altcoin, right, versus Bitcoin, that's a B. What's the denominator, right? So if Bitcoin is strong, right, this pair as a whole, the denominator is getting bigger, the fraction goes down, right? So that's why the Bitcoin dominance chart, when Bitcoin dominance is uptrending, usually alts are getting fucked and Bitcoin is going up, right? And vice versa, right? So Bitcoin needs to be going sideways or down, right? Generally, even if Bitcoin's going down, right? Like it's usually shitty for alts because alts are so correlated to Bitcoin. Right? I mean, alts are essentially leveraged Bitcoin, but usually when Bitcoin's stable going sideways, that's when you can see alts moving up and you'll see the BTC dominance either, at resistance or going down. But it's just a fraction, right? And it's no different in Forex. So if I'm trading the Aussie dollar versus the US dollar, so from 2018 to 2019, you look here, 2018 to 2019, what was this doing? Massive uptrend. Right? What is this doing? Massive downtrend. So that means that relative to the US dollar, the Aussie dollar is weak. The denominator is getting stronger and this is weak, right? So the Aussie dollar is showing weakness versus the US dollar because the US dollar is the denominator, the fraction is getting weaker, smaller, whatever. It's just math, right? So, this is beautiful though because this is just such a clear downtrend, right? So very easy to trade. The forex market ranges a lot and it trends a lot. And there's a ton of price history to go through to look at, right? So I mean, you can look at the yearly chart, and there's actual, relevant price levels that you can, go and trade, and make decisions based on, right? So I like trading forex, but when it's trending, when Bitcoin is trending, nothing is like it. So it's my favorite market to trade when it's volatile and trending. But I trade forex the exact same way. What VPN do I use? I don't need a VPN to use BitMEX. It's not banned in Canada, at least not where I live. Sure, I'll cover FUSD. I'll cover Cardano. I used to trade full time. I still trade a lot, but I own a company. I'm an entrepreneur, so I own a business, and so I do that during the day. I'm not super hands-on in the business anymore. I've got a few employees now who are doing a lot of the legwork, so I'm able to look at the charts all day long. But I do own a business. Trading is something I do as well. But I make more money in my business than I do trading, absolutely. And to me, my risk in my business is a lot lower than my risk in trading. Trading, I have to risk my money to earn money. Whereas in my business, I provide a service and I get paid really well for it. I would have to make a shit ton of money trading to ever make more than I make in my business. Do you believe in a non-trade stack? Absolutely. Not non-trade ever. I mean, I'm always going to own a couple Bitcoin, I think, right? In case maybe it does go to 100,000 or to $1 million one day, whatever, something retarded. Pardon me, that's not PC. Something, I was going to say it again. In case it goes to just some crazy astronomical number, I always want to have some Bitcoin. But I have a stack in cold storage that I trade maybe once or twice a year. You know what I mean? And then I have another portion that I'm actively trading. So I do kind of have a non-trade stack. Mayne Melithum here. Thank you, brother. Thanks, Melithum. Cool name. I'm there. I'll buy you a beer. The Waste Management Open. All right, bro. Grant Adams. DM me on Twitter. I'm gonna be flying down Friday. You get dry lips from eating too much pussy too, bro. I mean, ask my girlfriend. I eat the best pussy, okay? If there's one person who eats pussy the best, it's me. No one eats pussy better than me. China, okay? China, they eat terrible pussy. My pussy that I eat, it's much bigger. It's much better. Bullish on ACB. I'm from Richmond. If you already know the demographic, then you already know I'm shook. Bro, I feel you, dude. I fucking feel you. I'm sketched out about it. I don't know. How do you add size when you become profitable? This is a good question. So nothing should change. So hypothetically, right? Hypothetically, nothing should change when you add size. In an ideal world, right, nothing should change when you add size because your risk should be constant. So let's say your risk is 2% of your account. That risk shouldn't change as your account balance grows. If your account goes from 1,000 to 10,000, you're still risking 2%. Right? At the end of the day, it's still 2%. It doesn't matter that 2%, used to be $20 and now it's $200. It's still 2%, right? So you can't let it change. It should be static, and what you do should be the same. And the surefire sign of people who don't actually trade with size, something you'll see on crypto Twitter a lot, is people have a stop that's like $5. So that in an ideal world, right? It's static. If your account is growing, that 2% does not change. The 2% remains the same, but the amount of money that 2% represents changes, right? So that's how you have to try and think of it. You have to be emotionally detached from the money, right? So if you're entering a trade, right? If you're entering along here, oh shit. If you're entering along here, right? Your stop is here, your target is here, let's say. So you got your nice risk reward. Your stop, based on how far it is from your entry, using your formula, using the BitMEX calculator, you're going to calculate how big your position size has to be to determine that if price comes here and stops you out, you lose 2% of your account, right? So position size is all that matters. Leverage, none of that shit matters. Just position size is going to determine, as long as your position size is set accordingly. So if you get stopped out, that predetermined amount of risk you want to lose, 2, 3, 4, 5%, that's what it is. Shouldn't change. And then you have to, the best way to try and do this, especially when I was learning, because what happened when I was learning is we would be here, right? I'd enter, and then let's say I entered higher, right? Let's say I entered here. I'm wrong here, okay? But what would happen is we hit my entry, and then all of a sudden we're trading down here. I'd cut the trade. Fuck, it looks like it's going wrong. And then I'd come back to my screen the next day and I'm in the green, right? And I would fuck myself out of the position a bunch. So you have to, the best way to try and emotionally detach yourself from the money is once you enter the trade, the money's gone. So when I think about trading, I never think about the reward. I don't say, if I'm right, I'm going to make this much money. I always think about the risk. So if I'm stopped out, if I'm wrong, how much money am I going to lose? And I know that before I enter the trade. And so I already know. So why are you worried, right? You're prepared to lose 2% of your account. Once you enter the trade, let's say it's a 2-to-1 R, it's either coming back as 4%, you're either getting 4% back or you're losing 2. You got to detach yourself emotionally from the money, right? And then that way when you size up, right? Because when you say you're adding size, you're not really adding size. You're still risking 2%. Your account has just grown, right? So if you see a guy like Flood or Cyber or whoever these guys are, these guys on Twitter who you see are trading or Glimmery Coin, trading a million contracts, $250,000 contracts, $500,000 contracts, that is still, I'm telling you, he's not risking 50% of his account. That is a set percentage of his account. That just means his account balance is fucking huge, right? So it shouldn't change. That being said, I understand because I've gone through these growing pains. I started with a Forex account at 1,000, and then I had a Forex account at 10,000. Then I had a Forex account at 50,000. And Bitcoin trades where I used to risk 10,000 contracts, and then I'm in $250,000, $500,000 contracts on BitMEX. I've held those before. It does change, right? So ideally, you don't let it change. It's the same, but in reality, to me, no matter how rich you are, $1,000 is $1,000. You know what I mean? Like you can go to Bill Gates and relative to how much money he has, $1,000 might be like a penny to you, right? You drop a penny on the floor, you outside, you might not even pick it up. But if equivalent of a penny is $1,000 for Bill Gates, I'm making this number up, obviously. He's not just leaving the $1,000 there, right? It's still $1,000. $1,000 can buy you a lot, right? Realistically, assuming you don't live on like $1,000 is half a month's rent. It could be an entire month's rent. $1,000 is a lot of money. So I understand that it's to me it changes when you trade with more size. So whenever I see these people on Twitter and they're posting and their stop, they're like, oh, I'm long here. Or I'm short. I'm short, and I like their stop is like here. They have like a $10 stop. There's no goddamn way you have a $10 stop, and if you're stopped out, you're losing $5,000, right? When you have $5,000, $10,000, even $1,000 on the line, don't care how much money you have. If you have a couple grand on the line, if you're wrong, it changes. And the only way to get used to that is to do it, but you have to try and beat. But to me, that's why when I see these people with these crazy tight stops, and they're 15R. I'm like, BS. You're trading like 1,000 contracts, guys. There's no way you got $5,000 on the line. Half a Bitcoin on the line. If you're wrong and your stop's $10 from your entry, I call BS. Feel free to send me screenshots and prove me wrong, but I call BS. So I understand it's hard. You worry, but if you are risking 2%, it doesn't matter how big your account gets, you still risk the 2%. So if you've been trading profitably for 11 months, that's great. Keep it at 2%, still risk 2%. And if you start losing, first of all, trust your system. I talked about that earlier. If you have a system that's profitable for 11 months, right? Eventually, it's going to work. So you might go, there's going to be losing streaks. I've gone on losing streaks. But the idea, if you're aiming for asymmetric risk reward, so at least 2 to 1, right? More reward than risk, it should work out, right? So when you lose, you lose small, and when you win big. And if you're worried, cut your risk in half, maybe, right? Just till you get a little more comfortable. Or if you start losing, cut your risk down. But ideally, try and be objective. The 2% is the 2%. Jane, do you risk? I risk a percentage, generally. So it's 2 to 5% is kind of where I risk. Yeah, so I mean, again, stick it at 2%, bro. 2% is 2%. What's the point of sending over more Bitcoin if you're going to risk the same as if you're going to just reduce your risk by an equivalent amount? If you're only comfortable risking $500 at a time, why even increase your account balance, right? If that's all you're comfortable. The 2% is 2%. And so if your account is worth 1,000, the 2% is 20. If your account is worth 10,000, that 2% is now 200, right? Margin exchanges, platforms, suggestions for US traders. What do you mean? Like for crypto? I don't know. I only use BitMEX. I have not used Bybit. I have not used Deribit, so I can't really give you suggestions on those. If you're talking about stuff outside of crypto, I use Oanda for FX, TD, Ameritrade, Thinkorswim platform for stocks. Questrade is also a good option if you want to trade stocks and options, because you only need like $2,000 to open your account. TD Ameritrade, I think you need 10 grand. But yeah, crypto, Deribit, Bybit. Fuck, I don't know. Those are the other two main ones, it seems, but I don't use either of them, so I couldn't give you any kind of direction one way or the other if they're good or not. I don't know how the liquidity is. I don't know how the slippage is. If they have up times, down times, maintenance, I have no experience with them. You can trade with margin on BitMEX or Bitfinex. I think you only get like 3 to 1, but 3 to 1 is not terrible. It's not BitMEX, but BitMEX is quite degen. I think a lot of people, the reason the BitMEX insurance fund is going up in a straight line is because a lot of people are trading with way more leverage than they should be. In my opinion, you should never ever liquidate an account. If you're liquidating an account, you're doing something wrong. Okay, let's go through these because I have a bunch of these, and I said I was going to try and keep this video an hour, and we're at an hour, and I haven't talked about Bitcoin. I only talked about Bitcoin. All right, gold from the homie Bit Dealer. Check out Bit Dealer's new service, Market Science. I haven't signed up yet. I plan on it though, but it's data about crypto, not about crypto. So it might be, how does Bitcoin perform historically on Mondays? How does Bitcoin perform historically on holidays? All sorts of data that you can use as an extra piece of confluence to your trading. I think it's, the more data that you can have, the more information, the better, right? Because you want to find confluence between multiple pieces of information to then, make your decision. The more confluence you have, the better. That's why, I'm not opposed to using indicators, right? But I don't think an indicator alone is enough to make a decision. That said, an indicator plus price action plus blah, 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 all of a sudden now you have a bunch of things that are confluent giving you the same idea. I think someone posted this the other day. I think it was... Is this the guppy? I think it was Hisaka who posted it, but the guppy went green. Obviously I don't have the guppy, the correct guppy, super guppy. Super guppy. Here, this is the one. Fritz, Morpheus. What happened to that fucking guy, hey? I mean, I don't know. I thought it went green. Maybe it's the weekly. The weekly never turned away. Regardless, I think Hasaka posted the guppy going green. Yeah. Obviously, I don't have this guppy that he has, the daily, but the guppy went green. The guppy is green. All right, so let's start going through this shit. So gold. Get this shit off my screen, motherfucker. Oops. Okay. So gold, I took a nice long, I caught this entire move. But if we look at gold here, so we came right into the 62% retracement here on the weekly. Right into here. So what are these levels? So there's your fib, right? So this is a very common pullback to potentially see a dump from, right? Or a reversal. But this is the point of the breakdown, right? So this is the point where price broke down here, and now we're back up here. This move is getting quite extended. So if we're now zooming in, we finally broke out of this move, right? We broke out of this long, this, wedge or triangle, whatever you want to call it. We're now up into, that weekly block, okay? So if we zoom over here, we're into the weekly. Now I could refine it down to here. On the daily, this is the point of the breakdown, right? So we're right into there here. So personally, I think gold, pulls back, but it looks like we're flipping this level here. Like this looks like an SR flip to me. So assuming we stay above 1550, I don't see a reason to be bearish on gold. Like if we look at the 3-day chart, right? This is the draw, right? Did we come into here? We might have already wicked there, but to me, this is your draw, and then this is your draw. I think gold is starting a bull run, but we're spoiled in Bitcoin. Bull runs can happen in 6 months to a year. This is going to take forever to play out, right? Because if this is accumulation, right? Like if this is your range, if this is a range or whatever, and we just broke out of this range, wherever you want to call it the range, maybe this is your range, whatever. But if we just broke out of this range, this is 5 years, right? So if this is a breakout of this range, it's going to take a while, but I think it goes higher than here. So, this is your first kind of area of interest, 1640. I mean, we kind of came close there, but I think 30 to 40. And then I think, 1700 are the next two areas that I'm watching for gold, as long as we can kind of stay above this 1552 level, which is this high here. And if you look at the 3-day now, I'm going to delete this weekly block here. If you look at the 3-day, what have we formed here? This is a new 3-day bullish order block right at that key SR level. So again, order blocks only matter if they're near key SR, right? So we're near key SR here. So that order block is relevant. Zoom into the H12 here. You can see that this is looking like a nice SR level for now. So if I'm looking to execute on this, we just broke above this high here. I'm marking this area here, okay? And then I'm looking for a pullback to long, because this is an uptrend right now, right? So if we pull back into this area here, I bet you on the 6 hour, there's a nice order block here. Well, there's one, right? So pulled back here. So I want to see a pullback kind of into this down move. So I think we'll reject here a bit and pull back, and I'm looking to long that pullback. So the question is how far? I think we can come back into this down move here, and then see another leg up. So if I'm trading gold and watching gold, I'm looking for a pullback towards 1560 into this down move that led to this breakout here. I'm looking for a pullback here to get long, to see potentially continue. If we can get above this area here, right, then I think we're heading back above 1600, right? First target 1600, next target is from way over there, 1640. So that's my thoughts on gold. I think this looks pretty good. I think a pullback is longable if we get below this 3-day order block and this SR of 1550 here. I think you cut your longs, and we might be retracing further, because again, you do have to be aware, right? And just so you know, Rand Newer bought gold here, just so you're aware. Just so you're aware. We are at that 62% retracement, so we could have a much big, and we're at a weekly order block here. We could have a much bigger pullback than people are prepared for. We could pull back deep and then continue up, right? If you look at just Bitcoin for a reference, right? So could we be seeing this on gold? I don't know. Peter Schiff will shit his pants if that's the case. All right. Netflix from Cashy Boy, the homie. So Netflix, to me, like if I'm going to look at Tesla, oh my God, Tesla's insane. Netflix, to me, it's all dependent on the stock market. I'm of the mindset that the stock market is getting close to a top. So when will that happen? I don't know yet. I'm of the belief that this is one of Donald Trump's biggest campaigning points, right? Is the strength of the stock market. I mean, this is just absurd. I tried to short this here. I was trying to catch like the top, and I did. I shorted part of this. And then I thought I was catching the top of the next recession. But, this has just absolutely annihilated people. The entirety of last year have been absolutely annihilated. And to me, this is one of his biggest campaigning points, is the strength of the stock market along with low unemployment numbers. So I think everything that he can do in his power to continue having good numbers on the stock market, he will until his reelection, because he's going to be using this to campaign. And, if you look, when Obama, got out of office, there was a hit. But again, and Obama took office, in 2008, he started, this bull run started, in the Obama era. But to me, I think Trump's going to do everything he can to keep this motherfucker going. And, if you look at the stock market here, I mean, this is not something you bet against. I mean, this is the greatest bull run of all time. There's no other way about it. I mean, obviously, yeah, here's the recession in 2008, right? Well, we're up over 130% from there. So I'm still bullish on stocks, I think, for this next year. I mean, Netflix, goddamn. So I would say, Netflix. I mean, I don't know, the structure. This is a lower high. We did not take out this low. So, if I'm looking at Netflix here, this is my area of interest where we're at right now. If we can come above here, right, which is, okay, this high generated this low. So if we can regain this area here, 360, let's call it, big figure, right? 360. I think if we can regain 360, I think it takes out the highs. That would be kind of my thoughts. And I think if you come down here, that's a long. I think it either continues from here, or if it pulls back to like whatever here, 330, I think you could long this. But if we reject here, if we lose this low, if we lose 320 basically, I think you cut it, because I think if we round off here, we lose this level, I think we're going to come and trade down below this low. So that would be kind of my two levels of interest there for you, Cashy boy. I think you could long a pullback here. I think above 360, we're going back to above 400. This thing topped like right at 420. Blaze it. But if we lose 320, I think you get out or you look to short. That would be my thoughts on Netflix just on the fly. The BitMEX Insurance Fund, I mean, what's there to say? Long it if you can. If you were able to long that, I would long the fuck out of it. XMR. All right, where's Binance? Motherfucker. BitBay. What the fuck is BitBay? So I don't hate this, right? So the two alts that I'm long right now are TRX and Cardano. So if you look at TRX here, right, the entirety of last year, right, here's 2019. Been getting shit on. So it has failed to regain any significant SR levels the entirety of last year. But now if you look here, I posted this on Twitter as well. When we regain this level, so we made a low, right? This is like that setup I'm talking about on Bitcoin to enter. This is exactly what I'm talking about, right? You make a low, now we make a high, and now you're looking for a higher low, and your risk is here, right? That's exactly what I'm seeing on TRX now, right? So we finally have flipped a level, and I'm long at 188, I think, or 180 is where I longed. I posted on Twitter, and I'm wrong down here, and I'm targeting up here. But this is finally, we're seeing some sort of life potentially in this for the first time in a while. Look here, right? Same idea here. We made a low. We go to make a high. We never got above the level. If we would have gotten above 450 here, I would have longed it, but we never did. Same thing here, right? We made a low, we came up, but we rejected. Everything has been a bearish retest, right? But finally here, we come up, there's your rejection, but then we come up again, and now we're above it. So I'm long now. So if you look at XMR, similar thing here, right? I mean, this has been just shit on, not as bad as TRX, but we're getting to the point where it's like, okay, can we actually flip a level? And to me, it's like, this is my level on XMR. We got to get above here. I think if you can get above here, right? If we can get above here, then I think you get long. And not before. I mean, I guess you could get long based on us kind of being above this, right? You could say there's your low, there's your higher low, but to me, I want to see us get above this level here. I think if we get above this level, I think you got a nice easy trade into there at the very least, right? So let's just see where that would look like. So I mean, stop there is 1.5 hour, tighter stop, you're gonna get a much better risk reward, but I think this is a potential for a double up through this line. So that 7,900 Satoshi is kind of an area of interest for me if we can regain there on XMR. BTC I covered. Ethereum, let's go over Ethereum. So I'm long Ethereum. I posted this on Twitter as well. I'm charting BitMEX here, and I had a lot of people ask me, they're like, aren't you getting fucked on funding. The reason I'm trading BitMEX is I feel like this is the exchange most people use. Maybe I'm wrong. But I fucking rarely ever long Ethereum on BitMEX because the funding is just fucking cocked. And I've been long this since last year. I've been long since 123 on this chart. So basically, I got long on the run below this level here. I longed down here. And for me to hold this from December to now, I would have given half of my money back in fees. But the level of interest to me is right here, right? Was this kind of level here, this 3-day block. So I longed it here and my target one was here. Now we're through. So to me, this is what I see, right? I see this is the low. This is the exact same setup I just showed you on TRX, right? But just on a different time scale, or actually the exact same time scale. There's your low, okay? Broke through. Now we need a higher low, right? We need a higher low. So I think if could this be forming right now? That's the idea. I want to see a higher low form between 145 and 155, basically. And I think if you're not long already, I think you get long here. And if Bitcoin goes to 8,100, like that long I'm watching, very good chance you could see BitMEX trading closer to 145, 150. So Ethereum, that's my thoughts on Ethereum there. Ethereum, Bitcoin. There's a nice low there. I think we're getting close to, being able to say that, again, this could potentially be bottoming. Still too early to be sure, right? So this is an area that's rejected price here. But I think you have a nice move here coming up on Ethereum, Bitcoin. I think, that's almost 15% there. So nice move into here. Now I want to see us flip this 300 level. And then I think you have a nice opportunity. So I'm not currently long. If we were to get something like this, right? And then this, I would consider longing here or consider longing here. But looking potentially bullish. A lot of these alts are finally starting to show some life. I don't want to jinx it, but in case Cardano is the other one that I'm long on. I posted this on Twitter as well with a stop, entry, and target. So you can go find that on my Twitter, but basically I longed it, based on, I think this level here, because I got in at about 1488, so that makes sense. Once we got above here, to me, stop goes here, right? Because this is just a range. This is just a range, right? Holding the range EQ. Now we're back up the range high. So I longed it here and looking okay right now. So again, similar to XMR, similar to all that shit. ICX. Oh my God. I don't like trading altcoins really. I know there's money to be made, but it's not really my thing. But it seems a lot of you guys still love your fucking altcoins. Again, so all of these are interchangeable. TRX, Cardano, XMR, they're all kind of they're all kind of looking similar. They're starting to look potentially kind of bullish. I'm not saying the bottom is in yet, but this is, again, the best this has looked in a long time. The entirety of last year, it looked like dog shit. And now it's finally starting to look like we might be seeing a trend change. So same thing here, right? I think you find your level. You find your floor, right? You could say that this is closing through that floor right now. To me, this is the low here, right? Based on us just seeing this push up right now, right? I think that this low is your risk, right? Any sort of move, wherever this move tops out, don't buy this right now, right? You don't want to buy after this many green candles. What you want to see is when this starts to round off, wherever the higher low forms, probably somewhere back around here, you want to long it with your stop there. So all of these alts are kind of looking the same. Hopefully you're catching that by now. BAT, oh my God. I mean, yeah, exact same thing, right? I'm gonna sound like a broken record here, and this is why I don't trade a ton of alts, because alts are extremely correlated with Bitcoin, and they're extremely correlated with each other for the most part. So if one's doing shitty, they're probably all doing shitty. I think BCH, dragged a lot of the market up, but again, I think this is the first kind of significant floor. Look at that. I just drew that from here. Remember I talked about recency, right? So there's your floor. This is a key level. Trade below. We're now back above, right? After trading down for the entirety of last year, basically. I mean, it had a nice run here, but then huge sell-off. Below this floor, deviated below, we're now holding above. So to me, as long as we're holding above this price floor from here, I think this is, fair game to be bullish on. Refresh. Is that even a fucking... Is this the real Blockfolio? Oh, shit. Is this a joke? Is that not a fucking token? You fucking with me, dog? Anything bullish, I need this. I covered a lot of bullish. I covered ETH. I covered ADA. God, I said it. Drop one, Danny. Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna try and power through these guys here. It's getting fucking late. It's almost midnight, and this stream has been going on for an hour and a half. Okay, so link. Like this, I'm not longing. This, I'm not longing, right? So most alts, right? Look at ADA. Bottomed, right? Look at TRX. Bottomed. Now look at Link. Could this continue higher? Absolutely. But if I'm looking at alts that have been downtrending and now look like they're at a floor, the potential upside on Cardano and all those alts is so much higher than something like this. Could this go higher? Absolutely. But this also could, completely shit the bed. And the risk reward for longs is less here than it is for something that's been downtrending and now is sideways and now is potentially uptrending versus something that's already in an uptrend and has been for the entire last year. So, I wouldn't be longing this personally. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the top of it right here. I bet you that this goes like this next. That's my thoughts on this. XTZ, it's the same. So XTZ, I already had this charted because someone asked, I think, in the last video, but we came into this 3-day block. Again, why are you longing this when you could be longing Cardano? But to me, I think this is your key area, right? So if XTZ can get above 1900, I think it will go through this high. I don't know if that's all-time high, but it will go through there. But right now, we've got some long upper wicks into this 3-day bearish order block. So I wouldn't be longing this right now. I would wait for it to get through here. Then you long it, right? Or if it comes below here, it's coming down to here. BCH, I mean, this thing's fucked, right? So I don't even know where that line is from, but absolutely this is going to completely retrace this pump. This is a top, right? So I think that, you might get a move up to here. I think you short the fuck out of that, but to me, this thing's topped. This looks like the top. Right? Look at that. That's the top. This is absolute. This is distribution. This thing's going to retrace this move. Bearish on that. Algo. Danny, it's your fucking lucky day going through all your goddamn altcoins. I'm just charting your entire bag. So again, this to me, the upside for longs looks way better than the upside on something like Link or Tezos or Bitcoin Trash. Right? So again, I like this high, potentially forming a higher low. So if it can form a higher low in here, I think you can long it with a stop down there. ENJ, excuse me. Yeah, I don't hate this. Right, so here's your key area right here. 10 cents. Right, if this thing can get through 10 cents, I think it looks pretty good. So there's your, right, there's your low, there's your flip, right? There's your now support, forming a higher low. So I think this looks pretty good, right? Now you want to take this high, right? So any sort of move up, I think you could buy a retrace into this 8 cents area. Here's your key resistance through 10 cents. I think it looks pretty good. The coronavirus, I don't even want to think about it. I'm already scared. XRP, and do you want to share your thoughts on the upcoming IPO? I mean, this is just the ultimate shitcoin. So again, this looks like a lot of alts here. Could this be bottoming? Maybe. You know, I wouldn't short this here. The dollar pair, right, is, you know, this is the absolute floor, right, for the dollar pair. Has been, you know, here. It's not looking great, but I mean, I wouldn't be shorting this here. I'd be, you know, can it go lower? Absolutely, but for now, it's kind of on support, right? But not really interested in longs until it gets above 25 cents personally on the dollar pair. And this, it's like, let's see if it bounces here. There's your high, here's your higher low. Needs to hold this 2,500 Satoshi area. As for the IPO, I don't know. Two ways to think about it. One, opportunity for institutional investors to get their money into crypto, retail to get their money into crypto through XRP. The other angle to look at it is it's another massive cash grab where they're going to absolutely rinse a bunch more people. You know, like this is a, where can I find a chart that goes way back? I mean, like this chart is hideous. Like if this thing never pumps again, this is the biggest Ponzi of all time. Even a bigger Ponzi in Bitcoin. So yeah, I don't really have an opinion on the IPO, to be honest with you. Oh my God. There's so many here. All right, guys, I'm going to just fucking call it at this. There's too many. I need to go to bed. We're already at an hour and a half here, so I'll just answer questions here, and then I'm going to call it a night. You have a lot of questions, Jaden. Jesus Christ. Margin exchange, yes, for crypto. 5x. Any cool sign up promos coming up for BTG soon? Yes, DM me. But we will be having a promo. But feel free to DM me on Twitter, Jeffrey, and I can tell you more about it. Does BitMEX system overload affect you? I mean, occasionally, but to be honest with you, I haven't been affected by system overload in a long time. We had a bunch of big moves, like in this entire move, I had no issue with overload. Or in any of these moves. So BitMEX has been running really good lately. Yeah, I mean, it's the cost of doing business, right? Occasionally it's going to happen, but I've never had a bad situation with BitMEX overload. Like I've never been fucked over by it. That's just personal anecdotal experience, but I know some people use Bybit and Deribit because of it, but you know, no exchange is perfect at this point. There's not really a super good exchange, but my opinion of those exchanges, BitMEX is by far the best and the safest. As counterintuitive as that might sound. What do you use to trade alts in Bitcoin? So leveraged margin trading on BitMEX, alt trading on Bitfinex and Binance, mostly Binance these days, but last year I was using Bitfinex a lot more. How do you know the move is about to extend it on price action? is extended on price action without the RSI? So good question. So the RSI, relative strength index, right? Any indicator that you can use on the chart is made up of price, right? So it's a combination of price and volume. So if you know what price action is doing, right, a moving average, right, for example, is just an average of the previous candle opens or closes over however many periods you decide to make it. 200 moving average would be 200 candles. Relevant to the time frame you're on. So once you start understanding price action, you don't really need indicators, because to me, price action tells me anything an indicator can. Obviously, I know some people use indicators great. I think they're great in Confluence. I don't think they're enough on their own. I think there's some very talented people who've coded some awesome scripts and indicators to tell them what to buy and sell. But I don't need I used to do divergences and RSI, but what I found is I was able to just kind of get it from price action. I found most indicators to be lagging. Like whenever someone's like, oh, see, the RSI is oversold or there's a bearish divergence, they usually post that after the move has happened. A very common thing that you'll see in crypto, right, is you'll see like a 3 drives pattern, or in price action, excuse me, right? So you'll have 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive, right? And then usually the move is over. And you can see this all the time, right? So that's a common price action way to know that a move is, extended. So there's your first drive, second drive, third drive, and then it reverses, right? So super common. That's a super common, kind of way to analyze moves. 3 drives, right? Price action will also kind of tell you, right? So a good example of that would be here, right? So when we're at the bottom here, the reason I know that this move, this downtrend is getting overextended, I guarantee you, if you go look here at the RSI is oversold. I don't need to put the RSI on to tell you that, and I don't know if the RSI told you it was oversold here or it told you after we already had made this initial move, right? But to me, what I'm seeing here is we have a low, we have a high, and then we're making marginally lower lows and marginally lower highs. To me, that tells me that the trend is getting weaker, right? And then we had a breakout, right? So the bears, whatever you want to call it, losing strength, we're getting into oversold territory. Another simple way is to just draw a pattern on it, a triangle, a wedge, whatever you want to call it, right? Price is compressing. So if I'm bullish, price is compressing. I don't need to know that the RSI got to oversold here. We're at the apex of this compression. Eventually a move is going to happen. If I put the Bollinger Bands on here, guess what they're going to be doing? They're going to be constricting right here, and then you're going to have a breakout. So in my opinion, everything you need is in price. So I don't use any indicators personally, but some people use them great. Teach their own. Do you trade XRP? Not that often, no. How do you get into my Discord? DM me. Do you use Fibonacci? Hopefully you've been paying attention. I've used Fibonacci several times. I don't use it specifically to enter trades, but I always do find that this kind of 62 to 79% retracement is always confluent with where I'm looking to enter. If you look anywhere on crypto, on Bitcoin, it loves that retracement. So I do think there's some value in using it, but it's not enough on its own to make decisions. I hold XRP and ETH. I own XRP, I own ETH, I own Bitcoin, I own Tezos, I own some Cardano. Do you mainly only trade XBD, USDM, ETH? Mainly, yes. Yo, what up, Sheeb? How you doing, homie? Gaming from a trending perspective. Oh, from a trending perspective, I don't get why people trade illiquid alts when you can see plenty of volatility on BTC and ETH. I am of the same mindset. To me, ETH, these are derivatives of Bitcoin, and they're owned by Bitcoin. Once you start trading properly and you start getting consistent at being able to make leverage trades on Bitcoin, you don't need to trade altcoins anymore. But everyone wants alt season. I think people are emotionally attached to altcoins because they've either made or lost, or probably both, a lot of money with alts. So they have this emotional attachment and desire to trade them. What is SR level? SR stands for support resistance. So a support or resistant level. SR level. What does it mean? That's what it means. Support and resistance. Thanks, Ed. Thoughts on ZRX? Not terrible. So again, right, this is one of those, this kind of looks like, you know, your Bitcoin chart right now. See what I'm saying, right? So there's your falling wedge right into demand. So here's what I like about this. Okay, falling wedge into demand. I like that this wick closed bullish, right? Big wick into there, closed bullish. Now we're at the top. I also like that we've taken this level, right? And, you know, this level, and it's flipping this as support. So I think this actually looks pretty good. Oh my God. So don't buy the only alt that goes up. Please EOS, it's a big one. Okay, I'll do EOS. How do you know the move is extended? I answered that. Please do EOS. Yeah, I mean, so look, do I need to even chart this for you? Look at this. Right? Look at this. Look familiar? Right? So this looks similar to all of those. We had a range, a potential bottom form, right? We have a little uptrend forming here. Tap at resistance, tap at resistance. Now we broke, so this looks like it's bullish. Yeah, I like that. If it holds this SR flip, I like it. So don't buy the only alt that goes up. I want to buy alts that aren't already in a massive uptrend, right? Like Link. Like, to me, Link was a good buy a year ago. Now I'm thinking it's topped. So no, I don't want to buy this alt. I want to buy an alt that looks bottomed and has a lot of upside, right? Think in a range, right? If you're trading in a range and you want to get long on something, do you want to long something that's up here, or do you want to long something that's down here? You want to long in the bottom part of the range where price is at a discount, not at a premium. Link right now is at a premium. A coin like this is at a discount. What about the Fed meetup this week and QE plans? Yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm not entering anything. Are you working with Hillary, Vlad? I don't know if I can trust you, bro. But yeah, we'll see what they say. It'll be interesting. I'm not really in any stocks outside of a few marijuana stocks, a few private companies that don't really have the same systematic risk that a public company would have. Can you further explain order blocks? So Tristan, if you go on my YouTube and you go look at some of my older videos, I cover order blocks in depth, how to draw them, what they are. If you also go on my Twitter and you type in hashtag Trader Mayne TA tips, I have these nice little infographics here where I explain, you know, what an order block is and what a breaker is as well. So you can go here and you can look that up too. And I have nice little infographics. So check that out. I think leverage alts on Binance 5x will get a shakeout first before a long move up. Easy money, because easy money doesn't exist. Like they're actually letting what too much. I smell a big shakeout. Totally possible, right? If Bitcoin dumps or fucking pumps from here, good chance alts can get wrecked. But what I like is Bitcoin has been pretty volatile and has moved to the upside, and a lot of these alts have held steady. But yeah, not completely out of the woods yet by any means. You're welcome, Omar. Could we look at some marijuana stocks? Next video, I will do some marijuana stocks. So yeah, Justin, come to my next video that I'll do sometime next week, and I'll answer those marijuana stocks for you. But I'm long a few marijuana stocks. right? So I'm long a few marijuana stocks. What the fuck's going on there? So again, this looks like an altcoin that might be bottoming, and right here's potential sign of life. So I'll do that in my next video. I'll sure see Doge. I'll do Doge for my homie. Should you pay rent or should you long Doge? I'm gonna say historically, right? So if you look at Doge, can't believe I'm doing this right now. Right, I mean, Doge is one of the best. Like, this is XRP. Doge XRP wishes it was Doge because XRP did this, right? But Doge just continuously cycles, cycle. So to me, historically, right, 20 Satoshi on Doge, right, historically has been a great long for the last 5 years. 6 years. So I would say you long Doge. I think this is, if it's going to get a low in, could this be the low? Potentially. Right? This could be the low in right here. Or we could see one more dump down. But I think sub 30 sat Doge for the last 6 years has almost been a smart buy every single fucking time. So probably buy Doge. Fuck paying rent anyways. All right, guys. I'm going to go. This is way longer than I wanted it to be, but obviously I tried my best to answer as many questions as I could. I'm going to try and do at least one of these every week, so please subscribe to my YouTube. Any sort of likes on my YouTube, subscriptions, likes on my tweets, retweets of these videos are very much appreciated. Thank you. So yeah, I want to continue to try and do these as much as possible. So I'll be back soon with another one. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you got any questions, feel free to DM me. I do check my DMs almost every day, and I'll try and answer, assuming you're not just asking for money or something dumb like that. But yeah, follow me on Twitter, follow me on YouTube, like, subscribe, vlog life, and also tune back in for the next one. Follow me on Twitch. If any of you guys play video games, I'm slowly going to try and get off of crypto Twitter and just become a full-time gamer, because who doesn't want to do that? So follow me on Twitch. We can play some Call of Duty or some shit. But yeah, that's all I got. Talk to you guys later.